What's up? Danny here. So it's been about a week since I've uploaded my vlog, so I'm just gonna do an in-depth review on this year's Halloween Horror Nights event. I just want to start off by saying this year is my second favorite year behind my very first year I went, which was Halloween Horror Nights 2010. The creative team, Mike Aiello and your creative team, you did a phenomenal job this year. I want to thank you guys for doing such a great year. Wow. I enjoyed every house. There was two houses that were let down to the sheer fact that I felt it was just a lot of off timing. So if I feel negative on these houses, it's just, they're not bad. It's just, I felt like I went through them during an off time and there was a lack of scare actors or something. So if I could go back again, I'd definitely go through those houses just to see if it was that experience. Because I've heard from what I've seen of the houses I'm not enjoying as much that they were phenomenal. So, it's not bad, it was just an off timing during the time of the house I went. So I'm going to go with the house that I'm not saying I didn't like the least I liked, least enjoyed I should say. But it was just the bottom of the barrel of the house I didn't care for. And the reason why it's not that it was a bad house, it was the fact that I don't have an interest in the series, which is From Dusk Till Dawn. This house, I was pleasantly surprised with this house. I actually thought this was going to be a lot worse of a house than I originally thought it was going to be. But I enjoyed this house for what it was. I liked the facade and the detail that they put into this house. By the way, if you guys hear thunder and lightning, there's a bad thunderstorm going on. In Florida, we've been raining, I think, for the past 2 weeks almost every day. So, anyway, not talking about that, this house, I enjoyed it. I actually was pleasantly surprised. I felt like the last room was pretty freaking cool. But there could be a fault in this because I don't know the series. I felt like you go into the strip club and you exit the strip club, but like in the middle of the house, you lose where you're at. It's my fault primarily because I don't know the series at all, really. So that's probably the biggest thing. I don't know anything about the series. So, but I went during the beginning of the houses, during the beginning of the night, so I don't really know a whole lot about if they added more scare actors, because I could see where there were supposed to be scare actors, but they weren't there. So, the scare level, I give this house like a 5, because there were some areas that I could see frightening jump scares, but they just weren't there, or they didn't get me. Detail-wise, I give this house like a 6. I like the concept of the idea and having the strip club, and then you go through it and you see everything, and then you go into this certain area where I'm like, I don't know what this is, and then you exit it, where like there's the finale scene where there's gunshots and fighting and all that. I thought that was a pretty cool area. So yeah, if you don't have Express, I suggest you either wait for the house to go in later at night or skip it. If it's longer than, I'd say, a 45-minute wait, I'd say pass on it for now. So yeah, number 7 for me is Dracula Untold, Reign of Blood. Now, I feel like my list before I went to Halloween Horror Nights is pretty accurate to what I said was going to be this one. I may have switched some around, but I was really hoping for this house to be a lot better than it would be. My biggest gripe with this house was I never saw Dracula. It's Dracula Untold, and you don't see Dracula. It's like, come on now. It could have just been like a shift change and all the Draculas haven't came in yet, but it was at like 9 o'clock at night when I went through this house, so I felt like I should have felt like they were in full swing of going through these houses already. But I like the aspect of the detail and everything to it. That was extremely cool to walk through this house. There was one guy that got me this entire house, and it is the very, very last guy. He did a great job at getting it. I totally didn't expect it, because like, when you went to the front room, you're like, okay, there's detail, but there's nothing around here, and then boom, he pops out on your left. So I was like, damn, okay, he got me pretty good. But I enjoyed the detail of this house, so I'm going to give this house, a detail-wise, like a 7. But scare-wise, I'm going to give it a 5. This house is one of the, I believe, the 4th biggest IP house this year. So, to me, this house, I don't suggest you waiting. I think it would be just like Dusk Till Dawn. I don't really think you should wait for this house if it's 45 minutes or longer. go back to it later. That's one thing I know is a tip if you don't have Express, is if the house is long, skip it. Go to another one. Come back later. It could be 15 minutes shorter, maybe the same time, but if you've gone through the houses you want to go through that house. So yeah, that is my number 7. Number 6 is Giggles and Gore. I did enjoy this house, but I felt like the characters weren't on their A game today. I really enjoyed the concept of this house. For some reason, it was very disturbing with all the gore and everything. There were some scenes I was like, ugh, I can't, I couldn't really look at it because I'm like, that's really kind of disturbing. So, excellent job on that. I like the outdoor facade to it before you go into it. Really ominous and everything. As you walk through the house, I felt like some of the scares were lacking in certain areas. Like, I felt like they were going through a cast change as well during that time. So, maybe not everybody was set up at the correct timing. But there was one guy, he didn't startle me, but he just creeped me out. I'm 5'10", and this guy was, I think, maybe 6'4". And it's in the final room. I'm not going to say much about the final room if you haven't gone through it yet. But he stood down to my height and stared at me and walked at the same speed I was, and he just stared at me. And he kind of just gave that really creepy vibe. And it was awesome, I thought. But I do know there's a chainsaw at the end of the house. I didn't see him. I saw 2 teenage girls start sprinting right past me when they did it. So, detail-wise, I'm going to give it a 7.5. Scare, I'm going to give it, like, a 6 because of the creepy factor with the clowns, because a lot of people are afraid of clowns. So, yeah. Number 5 for me is just because these other houses I enjoyed way more. Is Walking Dead. I do like this house a lot. This is my favorite Walking Dead house out of all of them. I really, really, really enjoyed this house. It was a very long house, so after going through this house, I would almost wish houses were longer, but the thing is I know they wouldn't for the sheer fact that it's so much time and space. Like, they maybe had to cut it down to 7 houses a year, that they made all houses that big, because they do know that they share sound stages as well. But this house got me a couple times. I was really happy with it because the past years I was not impressed with it at all. I literally walked through kind of like with a bored face on me, like, okay, come on, get at me. And this year they did it. I honestly wish that all the other houses were on this par. I absolutely like this house. The outdoor facade was phenomenal. I like the hints that everything, Herschel's body, Michonne's katana blade, everything like that, all the little hints and details and everything. When you're in the room where the helicopter went through the ceiling, you see Ayala's spaghetti cam, which is a hint at the creative director. I thought all that was really cool. I felt like the cast had a lot of good vibes off each other, because they would scare one person, the other person would get them from the other side. It was like a lot of tag team duos. I liked the concept of everything. When we were about halfway through the house, I'm like, is this house almost done? And it was literally I was only maybe like 6 rooms in. I was like, I feel like this house should be done already. It wasn't, so I was like, damn, I'm like, this is amazing. I was upset because I wanted it to be longer when we went through the last room. I'm like, oh man, I wanted to go through more of it. But I absolutely did enjoy this house a lot. So Scare, I'm going to give it a 7. Detail, I'm going to give it a 7.5. I absolutely do suggest this house, but I do know for a fact that this house will be the longest out of them all, behind Halloween and Alien vs. Predator. I saw this house go up to 120 minutes, so if you have not gone, get Express, because it's just going to get worse. But then again, Express is going to get more expensive. I do know I believe the 3 main weekends in October, I think it goes to $120 for Express. I know it's a really harsh price to go for, but it's totally worth it, because I do know all those houses are going to be a long-ass wait. So yeah, I'm going to have to cut this video in half, because YouTube is being a pain with me and not letting me upload no longer than 15-minute videos. I know I'm going to go over it with these next 4 houses. So, if you haven't, check out my top 4. Leave a comment and what your favorite houses were from these ones and what you liked about them. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.